Kick it. What's going on, my little crackheads on YouTube? So, this track originally released on Cyclops Recordings with Nick Knack. Nick Knack is one of my buddies from Canada. Shout out Nick Knack, follow him everywhere. The precious title of this song is The Last Riddle, because this is what you hear right before you make a bad decision and then you die in a fiery pit somewhere in Elden Ring or some shit.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way, like an improv conversation. Improvisation.
You know the drill. Presets, stems, effect racks, and project file, all downloadable on my Patreon. So if you want to grab those, go ahead and do your thing. In this video, I'm going to be focusing on the basses because I feel like those are the most interesting part of this track, but we're going to break down the second part because the trappy ending, those eerie melodies are insane. I like how it turned out. I love this track. Let's go. Okay, so let's start with this background synth because this is the first one I found. It's a Serum preset, actually one of my presets from my rhythm pack. I tried out a few one, you know, just basic distortion type thing just to kind of put something in the back, nothing too crazy. The flanger is the culprit here that gives it that tonality. If you ever use an envelope follower, you know what it is. It creates an envelope based on the input audio and you can set the attack and release and that will smoothen the envelope basically. If I play it, you can see it. And then you can map out these controllers to Ableton plugin parameters. So I have it here on the frequency. It's a little more dynamic like that. I like it a lot. I also have a reverb on there, but that's not too important. Okay, where are those guns? Here are the guns. Okay, I found them. So the bass sample is an inactive gunshot sound. Okay, that's the bass sample, an octave higher than it should be. And then the first group of processing is fake disperser, you know, stacking EQ3s. The crossover frequency is so bad that it basically just introduces a lot of phasing on the crossover points. And if you stack it enough times, it turns out to be a disperser with 2 bands, no amount. The amount is basically just how many stacks you have. Poor Man's Vocodex is one of my extremely old racks. It's just a frequency separated, saturated vocoder. Not doing a whole lot. Then frequency shifter for the movement. Then G-clip to clip the sound and make it distort a little bit, you know, perceived loudness gang. And that's about it. It was a little bit too stereo, so I turned it down to 47% stereo on the utility. And then for the second part, the more interesting gun. So aggressive, I like it a lot. It's almost the same thing, but I use spectral resonator to kind of blur the whole thing. So if we check it out without the resonator, with spectral resonator, there's this cool thing that you can do. You can add unison to the resonated sounds. So basically the resonance can be unison. And so I use 100% unison 8 times. We tuned it to the same frequency that the drop is in, so D, because the whole track is in D minor. And that's the whole trick. That's why it's so, you know, white noise-esque. In the first drop, we just varied the rhythm and the tonality a little bit. But then the second drop comes in, which is much more exciting in my opinion.
Drop it again.
So good. Okay, so the second drop is basically just a reason. These fucking cables keep falling off my fucking table. So the second drop is basically reason rack distortion and just looping the result of that distortion. So let me show you. This is Kanoto inspired stereo square, kind of almost like a respace, but not really. I just wanted to create chaos, basically. The thing that I created with the reason rack distortion is this little thing, which is just this stereo respace thing stretched. It sounds like this. So what I did was rendered the audio and just created a melody with the sample pitch plus an octave, -5, +1, and then the regular pitch, and then +1 again. So it sounds like this. Together with that chaotic sub bass, they sound so full. That's the whole drop. Basically, the small little ear candy and nuances are, done in either channel level or just the whole group. Because on the whole group, we have, don't worry about the reverb fill rack. It was open up. It looks complicated, but it really isn't. Medium curve distortion for the second part because we wanted more distortion here. A little Pro Q just to even out some frequencies. No major changes. But this M-Ridmizer is basically the same thing as Gross Beat. Basically the same thing as Gross Beat. You can use this with any DAW, so it's better. Yeah, better. I automated the dry wet and the scratch all together, so it scratches like this. And I like to do this kind of old speaker effect or telephone effect, whatever you want to call it. People call it all different sorts of names. I just automated this EQ3 to turn on, and I have only the mid-range turned on. You can do this with an EQ. You don't have to do it this way, but this is the most simple way in my humble opinion. And then I just use tape stop to stop the whole group. This way you can kind of blend together and add movement to the whole group. As simple as that. I'm trying to explain it like it's rocket science, but it really isn't. It's just a tape stop effect. And then the standard Nosphere screech comes in. At the end, my favorite part comes in, where we have big, giant, enormous, humongous, gigantinormous delays on the guns. Oh yeah, here it is. Here it is. I found it. A friend of mine wanted to do a sample pack company way back in like 2019, 2020. It was called SoundFed, but it ended up being canceled for some reason. He didn't have time for the project or something like that, and SP stands for SoundFed. Basically, this is an old delay/reverb rack I created for that project, and it's nothing special. I just wanted to give some backstory on something that doesn't even matter. There's not too much to explain other than this gigantic fat 808. So apart from that reverb and delay combo, we have the same screechy, distorted, frozen sample playing, but it plays with an aggressive bandpass filtering. And that together with the delays, the high-end rides, and the distortion that the overly loud and on-purpose maximized 808 brings basically ends up being a sexy mush of bass in your face. Yeah, man, that's the whole thing. If you guys want, we can talk about the intro a little bit. I'm speaking to you like this is a live environment, but it's clearly not. So I'm just going to talk to myself a little bit more and just explain a bunch of things from the intro. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to explain. I don't want to bore you guys, so I'm just going to explain the mastering because everyone is so anal about mastering. I'm going to show you the mastering. It's not only a clipper this time. So, story time behind this mastering chain. I was lazy as fuck. And then what happened was I discovered a spectral compressor, which is free. I downloaded it, fell in love with it, used it in a couple of projects, and it just crashed my PC. Yeah, sometimes when you have multiple instances open, it can crash your PC. The thing I wanted to show you is downwards compression on 2000 bands. Upwards compression, which is kind of broken right now, and I hope it's not crashing again, on 2000 bands. Sounds great. Then we have, for the mastering, this Super VHS plugin, which I love. It's kind of like RC20, but it's a different plugin. But it does the same thing, makes it analog sounding, so it has some pitch drift, which emulates like, you know, tape drifting, and then that's it. But the compressors make up a lot of it, so it really helps. But the upwards compression is only turned on when the drop comes in, because otherwise it kind of obliterates the intro. And I didn't want to automate any parameters because it's broken a little bit, so I was happy that it wasn't crashing when I worked on it. So that's about it. That's the whole deal. Don't worry about these things. These are just analyzers. You can grab all of this down in the description, follow the link to Patreon, and then download everything. You can use it. You can use it however you want to use them. But be aware, this track came out on a label, and obviously you cannot publish official remixes because it's gonna get flagged and your account will be copyright striked. So you can tweak and learn from the resources and then reuse them in your own production if you want to. You have to change it a lot to work in other scenarios. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with your grandma, with your hamster, with your dog, cat, mouse, you know, the usual funny. Please subscribe sentences. Let me know who should I do next for the How to Sound Like XY series, and yeah. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to check out my website for a lot of high quality Serum and Vital presets and drum samples. You can also support me on Patreon, where I upload bass music specific tutorial content every single month. Peace.